Hello, my name is Maudlin. Usually this is a very weird little fashion channel, but today I'm going to be talking about my favorite playlists that I have made on my infamous Spotify account. Right now I have about 4 or 5 different part-time jobs slash side hustles, one of which is that I am a playlist curator. So I curate playlists for fun and for profit. But I'm going to talk about the ones that I've curated for fun recently that I really love and that I think you'll probably love too. Since I am a fashion channel, I will start with the playlist that I made for the fashion aesthetics that I usually do on this channel. One of my little bits that I do is that I like to combine existing aesthetics with weirdcore. So just take an existing aesthetic like bimbocore or coquette and putrefy it and grotesquify it a little bit. That is one of my favorite things to do because I'm a freak like that. So I will bring to your attention my different aesthetic strange playlists, such as my coquetamine playlist. Now these are songs that are demure and feminine and like cheeky and cute, but also very strange and off-putting, and we love that. My Bimbazar playlist is the same story. It's like music for pretentious weird sluts. And finally, I made a playlist for the time I combined lovecore and weirdcore, a playlist entitled Love is Weirdcore, because love is weird. And these are love songs, but very odd and off-putting. So those were the fashion playlists that accompany these silly little aesthetics that I made up. Next, I'll go into my playlist collections. I do like to make folders of playlists with a common theme. My most famous one is probably the 31 Days in October, which is a 31 playlist series. Each day in October has its own themed spooky playlist. Number 1 is just about fall and like fall vibes, over the garden wall kind of vibes. October 2nd is dedicated to creepy songs that are just a little off, a little strange, a little disconcerting. October 3rd is dedicated to ghosts, and it's a playlist of songs that ghosts would like. And so on and so on. My personal favorite playlist out of all of these is October 23rd's playlist, which is Wretched Human Beings. And these are songs for, by, and about evil people, if that makes sense. You know, sometimes a horror movie's villain is a vampire, sometimes it's a ghost. This playlist is for the villains that are just fucked up people. And I love this playlist. I popped off with that particular playlist specifically. Next playlist collection that I'll talk about is that I have been doing these little playlists for my big 4 zodiac placements. I'm a Gemini Sun, a Pisces Moon, a Scorpio Rising, and a Gemini Venus. Yeah, I know that says a lot about me. There's a lot going on there, but I did make a playlist for each, kind of with the vibe that I associate with those aspects of my personality. I could do more upon request, and I'll talk a little bit more about the upon request part at the end. The next playlist collection I'm going to talk about is one that I just completed, although all of these playlists are mutable, changeable works in progress. So this playlist collection is called The Major Arcana, and there is a playlist for every single Major Arcana tarot card, from 0, the Fool, all the way to 21, the World. This was sort of an exercise for me to get the gist of the vibe and feeling and emotion associated with each Major Arcana card. This was kind of a way for me to enhance my understanding of tarot as an art form and, cartomancy in general. So it was a really illuminating experience for me, and what I'm planning to do is have a 1-card draw on, maybe every day, maybe every other day, of just like checking in with myself via the Major Arcana tarot cards. And once I draw the card, I will then play the corresponding playlist to kind of like ruminate on the theme of that card and how it's relating to my day, or like whatever question I might ask the tarot. So I adore the tarot. The tarot is really important to me. My family has been reading tarot for 4 generations on my mom's side, so this playlist collection has a really special place in my heart. and I absolutely am loving the work that I'm doing on it. I'm still adding music to all of the playlists I've mentioned, so this is like very much like a living, breathing work. I take this stuff very seriously, guys, you know, so yeah, I'm really excited about that particular project. Next up, I will talk about these different playlists. It's not a playlist folder or a playlist collection, but it has a common theme. And that theme is that these playlists are all based on a TV show or a character or a movie. So these are kind of like media-based playlists. My most recent one was Mighty Boosh Universe, and these are a collection of songs that I think would fit in perfectly on the British sitcom, The Mighty Boosh. That is a deep cut. If you like The Mighty Boosh, we're already friends. I absolutely adore this particular show, and I love the music on it. Julian Barrett, the co-creator of The Mighty Boosh, Noel Fielding too, but Julian Barrett was like the musical genius behind a lot of the like wacky music on that show. So I do really like that playlist because it's just like a wacky fun time. It's cartoonishly catchy, aggressively quirky. Just like the show itself. So I love that playlist. This next playlist says so much about me as a person, unfortunately. And that is, of course, my playlist NBC Hannibal soundtrack if it were a gruesomely quirky indie movie. So this is me sort of imagining what it would be like if the story of Hannibal on NBC's Hannibal was written by Diablo Cody in like 2007 and had like one of those like quirky weird little scores. It's so niche. There's no reason for it to exist other than to tickle my fancy. Next, I'm a really big fan of the movie Desperately Seeking Susan from 1985, directed by Susan Settleman, starring Rosanna Arquette, and of course Madonna herself. So I love that movie. In this playlist, Desperately Seeking Stranger Seeking Susan is a reference to the film, and also just a collection of songs that I think really match the vibe. In a very similar vein, I did a playlist called House MD Soundtrack If It Didn't Suck. I personally don't love the House MD soundtrack. You know, sometimes they do kind of like allude to House's music taste as like a classic rock kind of guy, and that's cool, but like mostly the songs on House MD are like early 2000s alt pop dreck, and it just is gross. So these are songs that I associate with House MD as a show that I love very much. So feel free to check that out if you're a House MD fan. If you're not a House MD fan, it probably will do absolutely nothing for you. Another infamous show-themed playlist I did was a playlist called The Gilliverse. Now these are songs that I think could and should have been on either Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. I have 3 other videos about exactly this subject and the songs I put on them and why I put them there. If that's of interest to you, here they are. I also have a couple of different media-based playlists that are in my commissions. Now this is a collection of playlists that people commissioned me to make them. One is a Twin Peaks themed playlist, and the other 2 are based on characters and a, you know, kind of like a ship pairing that I did a playlist for. So I'm very good at like taking the vibe of a piece of media and turning it into a playlist. And I'll talk more about my commissions process at the end. Let's get back into some more wacky playlists that I have made. For Pride, I did a World Pride playlist. It's called Bug-Eyed Pride Worldwide, and it is just songs that I, a queer person, think would be really fun to dance to at a Pride event. There's no really rhyme or reason to my adding songs to it. That's really the only criteria for that. Also sort of media related, but not quite, is that I did a playlist called International Intrigue of songs that I thought would be really great in a spy movie of any sort. I did a song called Groovy Girls Heard Around the World of all of this different music from the 60s and 70s by female-led bands or artists. From all around the world, there are artists from Estonia, Poland, Nigeria, Japan, Iran, Lebanon, Zambia, you name it. I mean, it's all over the place. So I love the Groovy Girls Heard Around the World playlist for just fans of the 60s and 70s, girl power, and sort of like international jams. Okay, the last playlist I will talk about before I talk about my commissions process is Musical Whiplash. Now, this is a playlist of 131 songs. It's about 8.5 hours, and it is of songs that are designed to be listened to on shuffle. And one song will be like Thai cumbia. The next song will be lute music from the 1400s. The next song will be like an absolutely obscene country song about peckers and willies and buttholes. And the next song will be indie rap. This is a playlist designed for you to listen to it and have your musical vibe just be thrashed around back and forth. All of the songs are supposed to be as different from each other in vibe as possible. So this is kind of like an experiment, and kind of like a simulation of what it's like to have my music taste. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty out there. I recommend listening to it not while you're on hard drugs. It's supposed to be just sort of like an interesting, challenging, meditative listening experience of just changing vibes like that. So that's Musical Whiplash. Go check that out if you're interested. So these are the playlists I wanted to bring to your attention. This is barely even scratching the surface. I have like 130 something free playlists on my Spotify, which is linked below in the description. If the hyper-specificity of my playlists intrigues you, and you would like to harness my powers for good and not evil, I do have my playlist commissions open. It has never been easier to commission a playlist from me before. So here's the scoop. I have a specific eBay listing that will also be linked below, and it is a listing for a vintage signed Polaroid picture. It really is just a Polaroid of one of my stuffed animals signed by me, and that is what you will receive in the mail, but there is also a free gift attached to this listing. So what you will be really purchasing for $20 is a commission ticket for a 40-song playlist hand-tailored to your specifications. Now, I have gone into more detail about the commissions process and what you could theoretically ask for. Honestly, you could ask for anything, but this is a video that does a pretty good job going into what sort of things you might want to ask for, what sort of things people have asked me for in the past. I have an entire folder on my Spotify of commissions if you would like to see what sort of things people have asked for, what sort of commissions I have done. Now, these commission playlists are usually on Spotify, but I can also do a playlist on YouTube if you don't have Spotify. And that's almost better in some ways because I can put specific music videos on your playlist, or like interesting videos that I think follow your theme that you give me very well. So it's up to you. If you want a Spotify playlist, that's what I'll give you. If you don't have Spotify, I can do a YouTube playlist. I also recently got a disk drive for my laptop, and I might be able to figure out how to burn CDs at some point down the road for people who prefer physical media. Selling CDs that you burn yourself is definitely illegal, which is why you're purchasing this Polaroid, and I am giving you a free gift. So, long story short, this is one of my most passionate passion projects. I absolutely adore curating music. You know, can the Spotify algorithm make you a 30-song playlist for free? Yes, but it doesn't know what vibes are. You know what I mean? If you were to tell me, Maud, I need a playlist of 40 songs that mermaids would like, I could have that to you by the end of the day. If you're curious to know more, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to shout them out in the comments. You can also DM me on Instagram if you're at all interested in starting the commission process, or just go to my eBay link. You can DM me on eBay as well. If you don't have 20 bucks to spend on a 40-song playlist, totally get it. I may start doing 20-song playlists for $12. If there's any interest in a shorter playlist for less money, let me know in the comments again if that sounds interesting to you. Questions, comments, concerns, shout them out. Love to hear it. If you're flat broke like me, then I have 130 free playlists already on my Spotify, just waiting to be heard by your ears. As always, I'm so excited to share my musical creations with you, and until next time, bye!